I always say to people that we are living in a tradigital world these days, and I am a tradigital girl. Anyone who knows the Madonna song. So as John mentioned, tradigital is basically about combining traditional and digital marketing together. And it's one of the things that I think a lot of businesses really don't do well, and that's an area that we've identified as an opportunity to say in the market to be able to educate businesses on how to do that more effectively. Just to give you a bit of information about my background, so I have been in marketing and digital for many, many years. Most recently, I've coordinated the digital innovation and technology stream of Global Cafe, which is part of the lead up to the G20. So it was a massive event. We brought speakers from across the world. It was very exciting. We had all sorts of people. If anyone knows Reddit, we had Alexis Ohanian beam in live from New York, and we had all sorts of amazing stuff happening. So that was an amazing event that I worked with Brisbane Marketing on. Also worked on some really cool technology stuff, some projection mapping. If anyone's been to Indooroopilly Shopping Centre since it's been renovated, you've seen a lot of new technology and so forth out there. So I've worked on some really cool stuff with those guys. And things like augmented reality, and my business card actually has augmented reality on it for something a little bit different. But you know, doing lots of sort of fun augmented reality on magazine covers and in shopping centres and so forth. But a lot of typical strategy, tactics, those sorts of things as well. So tradigital. So forgive me for all the pink. You can see that I'm a fan of pink, obviously. But that's obviously our brand colours. So traditional obviously is your mass media, so that's the above the line stuff that we always talk about. So your radio, your TV, your print, you know, all the traditional stuff that has been around for many years. Digital is obviously anything that is computer based. So we talk about, you know, websites, social media, you know, search, EDMs, blogs, anything from a digital point of view. So when I talk about tradigital with clients, it's really about how you bring the two together. And I'm going to share some examples of that as we move forward, just to give you some more understanding of what that is and how that actually works. The most important part of all of this stuff is the consumer, and I think that's one of the key mistakes that so many businesses make, is they just want to push messages out there about, we want to promote this and we want to promote that. They never stop and think about what their consumer actually wants from them, and the sorts of messages or channels that they want to engage with either. And that's probably the starting point, and that's I always talk to clients about looking at it from a consumer and a business point of view, because that consumer point of view is vital in terms of the success you're going to have with any of the marketing money that you're spending your dollars on. So consumer journey has changed a huge amount over the last 12 months, 5 years, however long you want to look back. I mean, we have, you know, so many screens in front of us these days. I mean, you look at your own use of any sort of communication, how often you watch television now. You know, I'm sure that that's changed in the last sort of couple of years. You know, how much more engaged you are on maybe social media, or, you know, using your mobile for different things. Consumers are changing the way that they're buying from businesses, and as a business, you need to be thinking about how they're actually doing that. I always talk about a multi-screen world. The thing to remember with being multi-screen, and that can be anything from a television to a laptop to an iPhone to an iPad, whatever that might look like. All of this stuff is really all about visibility. That's all it is, regardless of how people are looking at your messages on or where they're engaging with you on. Your key or your goal should always be about being visible and getting in front of the right sort of clients. So, I mean, the screen, all this stuff is just a platform. You know, social media is just a platform. Google's just a platform. You know, an iPad app's just a platform to share a message on, and that's really what it comes down to when you get down to basics.
Did you know the average person spends 4 years of his life looking down at his cell phone? Kinda ironic, ain't it? How these touch screens can make us lose touch. But it's no wonder in a world filled with iMacs, iPads, and iPhones, so many eyes, so many selfies, not enough us's and we's. See, technology has made us more selfish and separate than ever. 'Cause while it claims to connect us, connection has gotten no better. And let me express first, Mr. Zuckerberg, not to be rude, but you should reclassify Facebook to what it is, an anti-social network. 'Cause while we may have big friend lists, so many of us are friendless all alone. 'Cause friendships are more broken than the screens on our very phones. We sit at home on our computers measuring self-worth by numbers of followers and likes. Ignoring those who actually love us, it seems we'd rather write an angry post than talk to someone who might actually hug us. Am I bugging? You tell me, cause I asked a friend the other day, let's meet up face to face. They said, all right, what time you wanna Skype? I responded with OMG, SRS, and then a bunch of SMHs, and realized, what about me? Do I not have the patience to have conversation without abbreviation? This is the generation of media overstimulation. Chats have been reduced to snaps. The news is 140 characters. Videos are 6 seconds at high speed. And you wonder why ADD is on the rise faster than 4G LTE. But get a load of this. Studies show the attention span of the average adult today is 1 second lower than that of a goldfish. So if you're one of the few people or aquatic animals that have yet to click off or close this video, congratulations. Let me finish by saying you do have a choice, yes. But this one, my friends, we cannot autocorrect. We must do it ourselves. Take control or be controlled, make a decision. Me? No longer do I want to spoil a precious moment by recording it with a phone. I'm just gonna keep them. I don't want to take a picture of all my meals anymore. I'm just gonna eat them. I don't want the new app, the new software, or the new update. And if I want to post an old photo, who says I have to wait until Thursday? I'm so tired of performing in the pageantry of vanity and conforming to this accepted form of digital insanity. Call me crazy, but I imagine a world where we smile when we have low batteries. Cause that'll mean we'll be one bar closer to humanity.
Pretty powerful stuff. I love this guy. It's Prince EA, if you want to look him up on YouTube. He does a whole series of different videos around lots of different topics, and it really makes you stop and think about how we're interacting and how we're communicating in the world. And one of the things I love about that video, and everyone that I share it with always enjoys the message that's in it, is that it is about that balance as well. As much as we have all these digital communication tools, we need to look at how we're balancing that with everyday life. And not forgetting that there's a traditional part, there's a human part. And the big thing, I think, about regardless of what channel you are using, whether you're using traditional or digital media, it's people-to-people marketing. Behind a business, there are people. It's people-to-people marketing. I think that's the thing that we often forget. We want to put it in under a heading of going, oh no, it's business to consumer, it's business to business. Don't put a label on it. We are marketing to people regardless of what business we are in. And I think the most important part of that is being relatable and being relevant and being real to your customers. It's not just all about your brand and your product. It's about how I can communicate with you as a potential customer, but do it in a way that you can relate to me as a person, not just as a brand. So I think there's some really sort of powerful messages in that. Oh, here we go. So I think the biggest thing that I see with clients that I work with is about getting the basics wrong. I think everyone wants to go and start up here, and thank you, Lisa. And they forget about just getting the basic stuff implemented first. And a lot of that just comes around by thinking about how your customers are engaging with you and what channels you need to be on. One of the things that is a pet hate of mine is when I contact a business, or whether I email them, which is probably the usual way that I'll get in touch when I'm in such a time crunch, and I don't get a response quickly from them. We live in a world of today where we want information that fast, because we've been trained that way with the digital platforms that we have in front of us, that we can have access to information that quickly, therefore we expect it that quickly. So if you're not responding to people who send you an email, and you're not responding to them within 24 hours, you are failing. When someone's sending you an email, they are interested in buying from you, so you need to think of them as a customer, and they're ready to buy from you now, because otherwise they wouldn't be sending you an email asking about your product. So remember the importance of those sorts of simple things. One of the big things I see is people not leveraging their marketing across both traditional and digital. I'll share an example with you of a local Brisbane magazine, I won't name them, who had, last year I think it was, they had an ad for Melbourne Cup outfits. I was looking for a nice Melbourne Cup outfit. I saw this gorgeous black and white dress and went, oh, I love that. I want to buy that. It was sending me to a website. I went to the website. Do you think I could find that product anywhere on the website? Nowhere to be seen. And I was like, here I am, a customer. You're sending me to your website. I can't find the product that you're promoting, so you've just spent all this money on a print ad, so it probably cost them a couple of $1,000s. I get to your website to buy it, and I can't find it. That is such a lost opportunity, and I see it all the time, where they're not thinking in terms of a broader spectrum of, okay, what marketing do we have out there, what messages do we have out there, and how do we need to link all this stuff together and leverage it? So we've got an ad campaign going out, so how do we then make sure that we've got the right messages on our digital channels to tie it all together, because that's how you're going to get the better results. If you've got different messages as a scattergun approach all over the place, you're just not going to get the success that you should be getting from what you're spending on your marketing dollars. And it's the simple stuff that people forget. I see it constantly. The thing is to remember that traditional is usually about mass reach stuff. So your TV, your radio, all that sort of stuff, they have big audiences, they're reaching a lot of people. Where digital can be a really good fit for that is as a real tactical response. So you can measure everything on a digital channel. So you can drive people using mass media, so whether you've got a radio campaign or a TV campaign, but then you can use digital to actually convert them and measure the results and so forth that you're getting. So think about it in those points of view as well. And make sure that everything makes sense. You know, if you've got a sale and you're promoting a sale, make sure that messaging is across all your different channels, but it just needs to be said in a different way. I see this all the time where people put stuff on Facebook and try and put the same stuff on Twitter and LinkedIn and Google Plus and everything else. It just doesn't work. People are using them in different ways. So when you can have the same message, but you need to tweak it and change it for each particular platform. I thought this was a really cute cartoon about how far we've come in terms of communication. So obviously our first written word was all, in stone, and now we're down to communicating in 140 characters. I mean, that's just a sign of where we are. I've got a couple of good examples here, and I'm not going to talk too much about them, but just some companies that have done it well. So this was an example that Europcar did with Twitter, where they were doing a campaign about their new free delivery service. This was going up onto billboards. And they were using, people were engaged on Twitter, and they were sending it live up onto our traditional media. So I mean, I know it's digital still, but typically billboards are classed as traditional. Again, similar thing with Pepsi Max. This has been done over in the US, where they've used Vine, which is the video platform for Twitter, to be doing stuff up onto a live billboard. Another one that I loved was Bank West recently sort of took it from online, offline. So they had this customer that they engaged in this conversation with about their services and so forth. And what these guys actually did, this guy actually wanted to join up their rewards program, but he wanted a reward that they didn't actually have available. So the guys from Bank West went above and beyond and actually went and bought, I can't remember, it was like a taco machine or something sort of crazy. Went and actually, a taco kit. Went and actually bought it and sent it to this guy, and the impact that that had was huge. So they went, we're getting something from a digital channel, we're taking it offline and responding to someone in a different way. So it's all about how you think about it, how you position it in your mind. It does get better results. When you integrate what you're doing with from a traditional and digital point of view, from a marketing point of view, you will get better results from it because you're leveraging your messaging across lots of different channels. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Again, it's about communication, visibility, and making sure that you're leveraging across all the channels that you're using. I do a lot of fact sheets and ebooks and those sorts of things, and I've said to the guys this evening, if you want copies of any of this stuff, I'm more than happy to get that through to you. So I do have an ebook on 21 free digital tools that you can use. So there's lots of free digital tools that you can use in your business to make it more effective, to communicate more effectively and so forth. They cost you absolutely nothing to use. And there's probably a lot there that you haven't heard of. There may be some that you have, so I'm more than happy to give you guys a copy of that. And the other one that I put together, and it was based off businesses that I was talking to not understanding some of the most basic digital terms, and it's a digital dictionary, and it just has some of the most common terms that are used from a digital point of view. HTML, like just stuff that people go, I sort of heard of it, I don't really know what it is, and all it is just a dictionary of what some of those terms mean. So again, everyone's sort of welcome to have that. Yeah, so I mean, if anyone wants to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. I'll be tweeting about the event this evening. So you can connect with me on those channels. I'm more than happy to chat further afterwards as well. And my website is digitalconversations.com.au.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tanya.